So when you open up the book and the first few pages feature the main character fucking a horrific demon, you know you're in for something. I don't know what yet, but something. What's going on, you guys? Petplatypus here, and it is finally time to review Berserk Volume 1. So this first volume has 3 chapters, so I guess I'll break this review down into 3 sections, talking about each chapter individually. I don't know how many chapters the later volumes are going to have, so I don't know if I can do that or if the reviews are going to get really long, but for this video, the first chapter introduces us to Guts. It introduces us to Puck, whose gender I am not too sure about just yet. And it also introduces like a villain, not really like a major villain because he gets killed by the end of the chapter, but it's a creature, like a dude who can transform into this crazy fucking horrific snake monstrosity, and Guts has a fight with him. And he also has a fight with a bunch of knights, and he gets captured at one point and tortured, and you get basically hints to things in this chapter. I mean, you find out about Guts a little bit, you get a sense of his personality. He's basically a fuck the world, fuck other people. If you can't survive, you're weak, get the fuck out. He has that attitude, which is understandable if you've seen the Golden Age movies, I suppose. But there's definitely more to him, which you see in the second chapter, and I'll get into that. I'll just kind of go step by step, but that's what we get in this chapter. He's kind of like a fuck the world, kind of an asshole to be honest, but he's still badass, but he is pretty much a dick. Then you have Puck, who he rescues kind of like not on purpose at one point, who's just this fairy who is basically like the shining beacon of silliness in this dark-ass story. Like, when I saw the Golden Age movies, there was no comedy to Puck's level, so it felt really out of place at first, but that's only because I was comparing it to what I saw in the movies. In the series itself, it does seem a little out of place, but I can also see why it's there. I think it's actually a really good idea to have someone like that, because everything around Puck is extremely dark and extremely serious. So to see him be silly and do comedic things, I think that really works, actually. It's a good contrast. So Puck is getting the seal of approval so far. Don't know about the gender, though. I want to say boy, but it's hard to say. So yeah, that's always weird. It's always weird when you can't tell what the gender of something is in a story. That's no criticism of the art. I guess I can move on to the art since I talked about the characters. The art is crisp, it's clean, it's pristine. It's a lean, mean, crisp machine. I don't know what to say. Like, everyone knows Berserk is known for having incredible art, so there's really nothing I can add to it. It is just really, really good. You know, when you see Guts come out of the pile of bodies, when you see him cleave the dude in half towards the end of the chapter, when you see him fire his fucking gun arm like a badass, all that stuff was really well drawn, really well presented. I could tell what was happening in all the panels. Puck's comedic panels are very simplistically drawn, but I think that works. And yeah, it's really, really good. But yeah, not really much else to say because I want to get more into like the second and third chapter, so this video isn't like forever long. But I guess I'll just go into a couple other technical aspects. As far as the pacing goes, it was really good. Because you go through about 100, I think it's like maybe like 90 pages this first chapter, so almost 100 pages. And I read the whole thing in one sitting. Now, when I went into it, I was thinking, if this thing's like 100 pages, I'll probably be able to read 20, 30, take a break, bookmark it. But no, I actually read the entire chapter. Now, you compare that to rereading One Piece, and now it's probably, because One Piece is my favorite series, but rereading it, and maybe that's why, is because I'm already familiar with the material, but when rereading One Piece, I can usually only do 1, 2 chapters at a time, take a break, so 20 pages and 20 pages, that's 40 pages, take a break. Hunter x Hunter, new material to me, I've never read it before, but when catching up to the series, I read about, I want to say 2 chapters and then took a break, so 40 pages, and Hunter x Hunter has ridiculously heavy dialogue and incoherent sentences at times, at least in scanlations, so what ends up happening there is you see that when reading those, I have to take a break after a couple chapters. With Berserk, I could just read 100 pages, boom. So I think it was really well paced, and I think that's the thing with monthly series is that not only do they usually have better art because the writer gets more time to perfect the art, but they also can, like, because they have 40 pages and shit, they can just give you big panels and just they can structure it in a pretty cool way as opposed to a weekly series that sometimes have to cram a lot into 20 pages. Not all do that though. Some give you like nothing a week, like fucking Bleach. Dude, like if One Piece was written by Bleach's writer, fucking Kubo, if One Piece was written by Kubo, we'd probably still be in like Thriller Bark. It's fucking insane how fucking he gives you like nothing in a chapter. But don't mean to shit on Bleach. But yeah, so the pacing was really, really strong. I read through the chapter, just kept turning the pages. I felt really well paced. I didn't feel like I was reading like 50, 60, 70 pages. I just kept going until it was done. And then I bookmarked it before I got to the second chapter. And speaking of the second chapter, we can move on to that. But as far as the first chapter goes, it established the characters well, it established the tone really well, it established the medieval world and what Guts is doing without giving everything away. We see he has a mark on his neck, don't know what that is yet. You find out in the next couple chapters, but I'm talking just for the first chapter. The second chapter, this features a little bit more of Guts' humanity, which is nice, because before he was pretty much a savage. Here, he's still a savage, but these two people take him in, because it's storming outside. And I'll get into the I have an interesting thing to say about the artwork in this one in particular when I get to the technical aspects, but it's raining, he gets inside their carriage, and he starts getting attacked by monsters. Because we find out that the brand on his neck is drawing these things to him. Now we see also this weird, like, bug-ish, like, thing of flesh with an eyeball. I can't really describe what this thing is. It's like this weird blob monster thing. We see it sitting next to him when he's in prison in the first chapter, and we also see a giant one in his dream sequence. And I'm very interested in what that is exactly, because it showed that thing twice, specifically. And we find out about this creature that can, like, feast on you, like, it gives you nightmares or whatever, and we see these skeleton soldiers who, you know, demons who take over, like, dead bodies and shit. So we kind of even get, like, world building in the sense of, like, the creatures that are in this world, like the demons and everything. We get descriptions on what they are and what they do. And you have this girl and this guy, and they seem fine. Girl looks like she thinks Guts is hot, you know, whatever. She kind of blushes when she sees him. And then she gets impaled because, you know, Berserk. And then she is dead, so her corpse gets possessed by a demon. And then she cuts off her father's head because, you know, Berserk. And Guts actually gets taken back by this. While he's fighting off all these soldiers, he gets stunned by this. She's able to stab him. And he lets it happen. And he's like, whoa, what the fuck? And he throws up. I think after killing her, I'm not sure the exact order of things. But then he fights off all of them because he's a fucking badass. And yeah, he goes back to his, you know, if they're weak, you know, they're bullshit, you know, this is why I didn't want to get in the carriage. And he just leaves to go about his adventure. So, yeah, it was definitely dark in tone, and it had really good art as well. But what was interesting about the art in this one is it's so well drawn, and it's just the right, I don't know if it's just the angle or the shading or what, but it's the first time I've ever felt immersed in an environment while reading a manga. I've had that happen in animated shows, I've had it happen in video games. Never when reading a manga in black and white have I ever looked at the environment, looked at the sky and the rain and all that, and felt like I was immersed in this environment. And I know that sounds weird, but that's really what I felt. So props to the artwork for that, especially in this chapter. Really, really good. I don't know, I guess the forest and everything just looked like it had depth to it. You know, like actual, like, physical depth, not like depth of fucking emotion or anything like that. So yeah, it was really, really cool. The action was badass. What happened with the carriage driver and the girl was pretty crazy. Nothing astonishing. It wasn't anything like super crazy, but it was still pretty crazy. And it was cool. It was just a cool, I follow up fucking demon-possessed daughter cutting off the head of her dad with, like, it was cool. No, it was a cool chapter, though. I enjoyed it, and it does give a little bit more characterization to Guts. We see a little bit more humanity from him as he hesitates to attack this girl. And, of course, Puck just being comedic and everything. So yeah, the artwork is really good. Again, it was really well paced. I don't think it was as long as the first chapter, but still really well paced. Read the whole thing in one sitting. We find out more about the mark on his neck and how that is basically makes him a magnet for these demons and ghosts and shit. So that's gotta fucking suck. And yeah. So I guess let's move on to the third chapter. This one actually does not really complete any events. Like, you could actually do the first chapter and the second chapter as their own individual, like, not episodic, but like if you were adapting it into an anime, the first chapter could be its own episode, the second chapter could be its own episode. They don't really end on cliffhangers, you know? The third one actually does. I think it actually is called Part 1. And basically he goes to this town, there's this big fat dude. His eyes are drawn very distinctly, so you can assume he's one of these transforming demon guys. And, like, you know, like the snake dude was. And what we end up seeing is Guts go in, fight off a bunch of knights, and then this little dude, who's very hideous, very deformed, takes him in, throws a smoke bomb or whatever, says, "Come follow me," takes them into this weird basement, and yeah, what we end up seeing is, how do I even lead into this? We just see a Baelet, I believe that's how you pronounce it, the little egg thing with the nose and the mouth and the eyeball, and Guts is shocked by this, and I'm shocked by this, and it was hard to lead into that, because that for me, like, if you've never watched the Berserk movies, it's like, there's nothing. I say, oh, he found a Baelet, what's that? It shocked him, okay? But if you've seen the movies, the movies made this cliffhanger so much better. Knowing what a Baelet can do, what it does, what it is, and then having Guts see one. That's fucking awesome. That was really, really cool. It's still an interesting ending, and it's still an interesting cliffhanger, because you don't know what Guts is freaking out about when he sees it. He seems very angry. But if you have seen the movies, it makes it even better of a cliffhanger, and I can't wait to jump into Volume 2. I say I can't wait to jump into Volume 2, you know, like a month after I bought it. But I wanted to get this review done before I read Volume 2. And I'm probably going to pick up Volume 2 right when I'm done with this video. So yeah, in terms of characterization for this one, I don't remember this chapter as well as the first two. I do know there's a lot of fighting with knights, so I guess it shows off a lot of Guts' combat prowess. And he doesn't get captured this time, so that's good. Mainly because someone helped him out. And of course he wants to kill the big fat dude. Because, you know, he's Guts and he wants to kill these fucking transforming demon guys. So definitely want to see what's going to happen there. Definitely want to see the fight, because the fight with the snake dude was pretty fucking badass. But overall, this volume definitely gives you hints to things, it gives you foreshadowing, it gives you really good artwork, it gives you really good pacing, immersive artwork, which I never thought I'd say about an anime or a manga. I mean, there's some, like, big spreads of, like, backgrounds in One Piece and shit that feel pretty fucking immersive and cool, especially with, like, Fishman Island and shit, but, like, when it comes to most series, it's just, like, it's in black and white, you're just kind of reading it, it's good, but it's not, you know. With this, I felt that, and that was very interesting. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm fucking weird, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it had, like I said, clean art, good pacing, good story. Pretty good comedy, though it felt out of place at first. It foreshadowed things nicely. It established Guts' character very well. At first he seems like just a pure savage, but then you see a little bit of more humanity in him. It raises questions like, okay, why does he have a metal arm? Why is his eye always closed? Like, did he lose his eye? What's going on there? You know, who are these demon guys? How did he get the brand? So it raises a lot of questions. It's really, really good. I definitely enjoyed it quite a bit. And I should have a Volume 2 review out. I wanted to do them once a month, because I don't know how quickly I can buy volumes. That's why I said once a month. But then I was thinking about how many volumes Berserk has, and that would take a really long time if I did them one a month. It would take a couple of years to get through them. So I want to say, like, maybe one every 2 weeks, probably. And I may not be able to dedicate to that, because if I don't have the money, I can't buy more volumes. And right now I only have the first 2. So we'll see what happens, but I'll aim for every other week, so yeah, every 2 weeks, I'll try to get a Berserk volume review, or a volume review, because I have to also do Shaman King, because I totally fucking forgot about those like an idiot. But anyways, if you guys have read Berserk, what do you guys think of the Berserk series? Do not spoil anything in the comment section below. Please do not, but what do you guys think of Berserk? Have you read Volume 1? Have you read the first few chapters? Tell me what you guys think. You can also follow me on Instagram or add me on PSN. I'm petplatypus on both. You can give this video a thumbs up, share it on social media. Both those would help me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already, or if you like what you've seen here. I'm really close to 200 subscribers, so help me get there. You can also subscribe. I said that. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Thanks for watching.